There it is.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone to this evening's service.
Divine Creator, we ask that the light of highest awareness fill the minds and hearts of those who are open to your light. We ask that they be assisted and strengthened in their resolve to achieve peace using peaceful means. May their minds, their hearts, and their actions reflect the divine will to good for all. Comfort, strengthen, and support those who are in a difficult situation in their mind, body, or spirit. Bring confidence to them that your divine hand is at work in their life. Amen.
So, again, greetings. My name is Reverend Mary Huber. I'm pastor of CCWH, which stands for the Community Chapel of Holistic Healing. We are a non-denominational, nonprofit of spiritual fellowship. We're located in the Washington, D.C. area. We were founded in 1977 by Reverend Michelle Lusan, a mystic and channel for the multidimensional consciousness. She was asked to place it here by Swami Sivananda in a vision she had of him very early on in the 70s. So she began the organization, and we are here to be a light for the nation's capital. We are here also to aid in personal and global spiritual transformation. So we always begin every service with a recitation of faith, hope, and charity affirmations, which were also channeled by her from spirit to aid us in balancing our entire system. It's also known by us as the three healers. The faith affirmation: I believe in the spiritual existence of myself as a perfect image of the divine creator. In this reflection that is my physical embodiment, I have faith in the supreme guidance of my soul for my balance, my needs, and my opportunities. Outside of myself, there are also perfect images, and nothing can delude my thinking otherwise. The hope affirmation: acknowledging my faith in the omnipresence of my divinity, I hope for realization, awareness, and acknowledgement of the existence of the great I am within myself. The charity affirmation: in understanding faith and knowing hope, I pledge my actions, my desires, and my thoughts to the performances of myself on the physical planes of the earth, to honor, to love, and to enlighten all that is a reflection of the divine outside myself, so that my perfection is imaged back to my Creator. So help me God. Well, this evening, we're moving on to talk about the third of the cosmic festivals. And this is the Feast of Christ, also known as the Goodwill Festival. Now, this is a big cosmic event. It's so huge that the enormity of it cannot even be thought about by, I think, the average person. It's those who understand the importance of it, however, ask that on the day of the Goodwill full moon, groups and individuals are invited to hold meditation focus and for 24 hours to sound the great invocation on the quarter hour over a period of time while spending the 15-minute interval in prayer or meditation for a world culture of cooperation. Now, at the full moon in Gemini, the time of the Goodwill Festival, the hierarchy, guided by the Christ, showers goodwill upon earth everywhere. Because during the previous festival, the Wesak festival last month, the Buddha became the absorber of will. He uses the magnetic power of love to attract this force and hold it steady prior to redirecting it. On behalf of the hierarchy, then, Christ receives this and acts as the giver of this potent energy at this time of the Festival of Goodwill. Now, the festival itself is actually tomorrow. That's the full moon. And the full moon is also known as the strawberry moon, and it is at 11:42 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to put that on your calendar, because it is for those who are very concerned about the world today and elevating the consciousness of humanity from a lower mess that it's in, these world servers are now attuning to this, and it would be good for us to join with them. So tomorrow evening, which would be June 3rd this year. Now, the festival is, it's a cosmic festival. It's in the heavens, as you might say. And it occurs at the full moon as it enters the white ether, it's called, of the Milky Way. There is the place of reunion, a true kinship, the place of cosmic consciousness. It is a place within the galactic magnetic field. It is from here that we receive an exceptional spiritual outpouring into our hearts from the spiritual sun, Sirius. This galactic magnetic field carries this blessings to all on earth during this time. And its highest effect that it can achieve, and it is meant to achieve, is world unity. Now, this is also called World Invocation Day, and that has 3 central features. First, it's using the great invocation, which we are going to recite later on in this program. The world prayer, which expresses truth central to all the major religions of the world. Second feature is the spiritual cooperation of people of goodwill of every faith joining in a united act of invocation of divinity. And the third is the distribution into human consciousness of the spiritual energies evoked during the Easter and the Wesak festivals. This is, as I said, the culmination. This is the outpouring. This is where Easter and Wesak are the buildup of energies to bring the maximum amount of this into the world. Now, these 3 festivals actually are attended by both the Buddha and the Christ, and they each have their own particular reason to be. Now, the Buddha made the first planetary effort to dissipate world, and it's called glamour. It's an astral function of dealing with your emotional body. All of the emotions of the world are in this astral plane. And glamour is associated only with that plane and also with the desire nature. And glamour is dispelled by pouring in of the light of reason. So Buddha used 3 methods to dispel this unattractive aspect of humanity and prepare the personality of the individual to be a conscious expression of divinity. And the three ways he does it are taught. And if you're in Buddhism, you understand this. The first is by detachment, the withdrawal or abstraction of the brain consciousness from the things of the senses and from the calls of the lower nature. Now, there would be an imposition then of a new rhythm of habit and a reaction within the cells of the brain, which would render the brain unaware of the lure of the world and of that kind of sensory input that draws us away from our true nature. It's the freeing of the soul from the enmeshment in the life of the lower living aspects of self, and as well as the freeing of the subjugation or of the personality to these influences, and brings us more in line with the higher impulses. So that's detachment, getting away from that stuff. The dissipation, it's called. It's the attainment of that state of consciousness where balance is seen, and neither pleasure nor pain dominate now. They do exist, but they don't dominate anything. And through dissipation, the emotional nature is rendered immune from the appeal of the senses and lower desires that these might deter the soul from its rightful task. So this frees one from the bias that we hold in one way or another, and allows one to become calm and impartial in attitude. And the third way that the Buddha had taught and teaches still is discrimination, the process of differentiating between form and the real life, between the lower nature and the whole there and the real self, which itself, our real self, is the cause of lower manifestation. And it's that faculty whereby the self recognizes its own essence and is in and recognizes itself in all forms. That's one of the highest faculties in humanity that you can achieve. And when these three methods of the Buddha are used, the light of reason pours forth into the emotional body, which dispels all of these other things that are distracting us, and wisdom is brought in, preparing the individual for initiation. Now, the Christ made the first planetary effort towards the dispelling of illusion. An illusion, as it's defined here, is later, after a later emergence, they say, after glamour. Illusion is primarily a mental quality or a mental thing that's going on, and is characteristic of the attitude of mind of those people who are more intellectual than emotional. The soul illumines the plane of the mind and the plane of intuition. Intuition comes from the soul. This is where ideas are contacted by us. So that's an important aspect. An illusion signifies the reaction of the undisciplined mind to the newly contacted world of ideals. In other words, you get the idea, you're not in touch with the reality of it, the intuitive part of self, and you completely misread everything. If it's illusion and you have an illusion of this and that happening because you're not really attuned to where you need to attune in order to receive the real message here. So ideas come to us in the plane of intuition and are related to the will aspect of ourselves. They themselves don't have much substance, but they give form to the shapeless matter of the universe and manifest. So illusion is shattered by the intuitive recognition of reality by minds attuned to it. there are three results. Again, as Buddha had three results, Christ had three results of the work that he did. First was individualization. The whole is made up of individuals. Every individual is an integral part of the whole. And the value of the individual cannot be underestimated because there is real influence. It's a really important role when you come in and become an individual here in the planet and being embodied. It's very important that we learn to perfect ourselves. This is why we're here. And then we will enrich everyone else in the world around us with our own unique contribution. So individualization is important. But then the process of developing inclusiveness will come in. So that is where they call it initiation. Now, they are more concerned in this reading that I had through the research that I did about the group activity. And this is important because group activity is the sign of the world to come, where people will be seeing themselves more in group activities. But be aware that individuals go through initiation as well, not only groups. The individual, and we're trying to bring ourselves up into a more enlightened and a process that we lock into that will make us into a better person, contacting higher ideals. The initiation really is a testing of by the universe in different situations that we're in to say, okay, now that you've grabbed hold of these higher purposes of life and you have new ideas of how you are to proceed, do you really believe them? Are you going to apply them? So passing the test of initiation is to acknowledge and behave in such a way that, yes, I got that, and I'm behaving differently now. And that's an initiation process. Well, groups go through that as well. Then the third part is an identification. Now, the final result of the work of Christ is to be found in identification with the whole. You know, when Jesus was here, he said, I and my Father are one. And that was his real, the message here that needs to be promoted is that I, the individual, through my initiation, now am identified with deity. That is the process of becoming a Christ. So it's our goal to get there. It's where Jesus came to show us the way to do that. So with the light of illumination, and you're joining your consciousness with Christ, you're dispelling illusion, and you bring your mind into a complete relationship with the deity within you, your own God within. And this is so important in the world today. It just can't be. This is really where everything is going, and it's very important that it goes there. Now, I have something here to present because part of that, I'd like you to understand a little bit more about what I just shared with you. And on my screen, I have this is Elizabeth Clare Prophet's group has created this any number of decades ago. This is how we are wired. This is how we look in spirit. The figure below is our physical form that is receiving from on high, those imprints from on high. So we are the end part of this. If you go to the top part, that brilliant light at the top is our I am presence. This is every individual in the planet is composed exactly like this, regardless of your religion, regardless of anything else. Everybody, every human being is composed this way. I am presence is the purest and unsullied aspect of self. This is the God part of ourselves. That radiates down through to us, but comes down through the Christ. The middle figure there is the Christ consciousness. It is you, and everybody sees it as Jesus, but it's the Christ consciousness. Jesus became the Christ. Christ is a vast consciousness that is cosmic in size. And all of us, including Jesus, are, he went and he showed us the way. This is how you get there. This is a perfected human being, and you look for the Christ consciousness. You develop that relationship, and you only become that. You exhibit all of the qualities of Christ. Then in everything that you are and everything you do, and you don't see anything else, you have become the Christ. Well, we're all working toward that. And this is why Jesus said, you can't get to the Father, which is your I am presence, without going through me, which he meant through Christ. You must attune to the Christ consciousness in you in order to get to the I am presence within yourself. So our lower form is, we're here to work on that. We're here to develop it with the assistance of the Holy Spirit, which you see is the above the figure of Christ there. But this is the way that we are all headed. And certainly some people are able to get there a lot sooner, faster, because they are so dedicated to developing themselves at a much higher level that it's up to the individual. We're all destined to get there. It's the timing on it is depending on our own willingness to go through the work of achieving that. Now, the gift of forgiveness is very much a part of this. Forgiveness is one of the greatest gifts of spiritual life. It enables us to be released from the sorrows of the past. This is really important, looking to clear ourselves. Forgiveness is simply an act of the heart, a movement to let go of the pain, the resentments, the outrage we have carried as a burden for so long. It is an easing of our own heart and an acknowledgement that no matter how strongly we have suffered from the evil deeds of others, we will not put another human being out of our heart. We've all been harmed, just as we have harmed ourselves as well as others. So begin where you are. Begin to make right where you are better. Experiment. This is important to experiment with. How am I going to be a better person? Maybe I better have better relationships with other people, but also with yourself. That's really I think the starting point is begin with your own self and think better of yourself. Program yourself in your daily thinking to be a more positive person than ever before. And that will, and by itself, extend itself out to others, because we do tend to be harsh on ourselves, and we tend to be harsh on others. So we don't want to go there. We need to be realistically loving and kind to ourselves so that we can be that way with others and have better human relationships. And as a result of that, you will invariably educate other people around you to be very similar to that. You'll be a shining example, and people will want to follow that because they will see the value in it. Sometimes it's hard to see, that we're trying hard for ourselves. We don't see that we are impacting others, but others know it and realize that every effort you make there's always useful activities that come from it. It's never useless. It's always valuable, no matter what you're doing to improve. And goodwill itself is a dynamic energy and will bring about fundamental world changes. desiring the greatest good for all, the combined power of goodwill, forgiveness, and love, and sharing this with others, that cannot be overestimated. It's beyond belief. This power has never been really fully employed. So begin where you can now in the world and do the best you can with it, and realize how important that is in you and can be in the world. I would like to remind you too that there is when we make our affirmations, we are kind of doing demanding of the universe. We are saying to the universe, we're speaking to the universe. We are in command when we are doing that kind of positive effort on our part to put something out there. And there is such a thing as us demanding enlightenment. I mean, this sounds unusual to people who just pray and say, and hoping that things are going to be better in the world. But we can demand it of the ethers, be demanded of the impartial universe that will support us in because we're coming from a very high and very different level of ourselves. We're looking for the good of everyone. So you can demand an invocation on behalf of humanity that there is an inflow of light upon the decisions of humanity. And we really need that today. And we ask and request and expect enlightenment for those who have to make decisions on behalf of humanity everywhere. So this demand is not coming from a selfish place, it's coming from a selfless. We're demanding enlightenment and illumined perception for those who have to guide the destiny of races, nations, and world groups. On their shoulders lies the responsibility to take wise action based on world understanding and the interest of international cooperation and the establishment of right human conditions and relations. This is important, and for that reason, we have had the Great Invocation. The Great Invocation was created at the end of World War II, and it was there. I'm not sure who did it. I'm not sure if people know who created this, but it is the powerful affirmation and the demand on the universe, and I guess you could say demand on ourselves for the light to come in to this world. And you can see the words there. These are a little different than the words I mean, they're being a little bit massaged as time is going on. But I'm going to attempt to play for you. Not long after they were created, somebody presented these to Eleanor Roosevelt. And she was at the United Nations in New York, and she decided to recite this great invocation there for all of the United Nations. It's on YouTube. I tried to record it, so you might read it yourself online, but I'll play a piece of her recording.
Me to express the aspirations held by many people throughout the world, so I'm going to read it to you on this program. Great invocation. Your thank you in the mind of God. Let light stream through into the mind of man. Let the light ascend and earth. In the point of love in the heart of God, let love stream into the heart of man. Make Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little bit of man. Heart to light. And love and light. Let's go. We feel him. He
What a wonderful thing to have had this recited before all the nations. So we need to continue this and to keep it going. And now I'd like to go into our meditation for this evening. As we close our eyes now, knowing the importance of this time of the year, knowing the outflow that's coming from such high levels of our universe, knowing that so many dimensions that we live on simultaneously are being involved in this as well. We bring ourselves now with our closed eyes and breathing deeply, relax to go within the inner journey. We go within because that is where this great energy is flowing. And the great energy that we begin to feel is loving and kind. It's strong and powerful, but gentle. It's a force, a magnetic force, impelling us to open our hearts more fully and to be the love in the world that the world needs. We might envision a flower, a rose. The rose exists on this planet as an elevated form of the kingdom in the planet, in the world of the planet, where the nature kingdoms exist and thrive and guide all of the earth to its perfection. And the rose itself symbolizes their absolute love. So image a rose in a vase, or you might find yourself seeing the rose in a garden, and you might want to go into the garden where there are many roses. There is only love there where there is a rose. Negativity cannot live in the presence of a rose. Regardless of the color, see each petal joyously surrendering itself to the universal call of love as it has been formed with such perfection. And this rose, this perfect rose, also emits a beautiful scent. The beautiful scent ascends to the heavens to praise that higher level of consciousness at the very core of creation. See yourself surrounded by loving presence of the rose and those rose symbols that can be pulled into our life to remind us of love. The true love that flowers within our heart. The rose might be seen growing there in its symbolic form as a perfect expression of all the love that you have to share. You may want to envision giving out roses. See yourself distributing a rose to each person in your life. The love that is shared, the love that is returned with the smile and the gratitude that you have given this gift. See as many of these roses being distributed everywhere in the world. See the rose growing larger. See them growing more abundantly, particularly in areas that are devoid of vegetation or are devoid of kindness. Know that the rose is a good symbol. Know that you can meditate upon a rose. Just reproduce it in your mind. It will remind you, it will give you the information from the heart. Take your time in meditation. Look at the rose and imagine the rose in your mind and imagine it being a reality in your life. You see rose petals strewn everywhere for you. See your journey in life as filled with the flowering rose and the petals that are strewn before you by Spirit. And as you follow that path, you become more and more attuned to the highest level of yourself, to your Christ consciousness, which allows you to enter the door to higher realms. The love and the distribution of love is the perfection of humanity. It is where humanity is going. Lead them there. See yourself giving roses abundantly every day. And let that be now a guidepost for you in your life. As we give, we will receive. Everything we put out comes back. It is rewarding to give, and it is only natural to receive. It is the way of the universe. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Amen. When you're ready, and bring yourself back with an arm full of roses, and see yourself placing them in every room in your house. They will be there in their etheric form and will clear your house of all negativity and bring to you a love in return. And when you're ready, come back to the seat that you're in, refreshed, relaxed, and knowing how much you are loved. Thank you. Now, CCWH has been serving the greater good for 46 years and counting, and through your generous donations only. Now, with your help, we are able to provide spiritual awareness to improve the lives and help build a brighter future. Donations, both big and small, make us able to be online and to continue our work. So help us by helping others, by going and see if you can give some money in our PayPal account found on our website. So at this time, when we would normally in our service in the past take our offertory collection, we want to know that we are grateful for your generous support, which allows us to go on and just be as supportive as you can with us. So I'd like to read now our prayer of that we've always said at the offering. Father, Mother God, you are the giver of every good and perfect gift. Give us grateful hearts that we may share freely with others all you have given us. Amen. Thank you for coming and join us in our closing hymn.